2020 was not as bumpy as for you guys as for some of us. Hopefully 2021 is a better year. A couple of housekeeping notes I want to remind you. Make sure your name, the name that appears for your Zoom when you're logged in is your name plus your department. So if you look at the name under my screen where I'm talking to you right now, you'll see William Justice FAR because I'm fire. Please do that. Other housekeeping notes. After Vice President Dr. Jody Kozlow Martin speaks, we're going to be going to breakout sessions. Those breakout sessions are based on your division you're teaching. So if you teach in science, math, rhetoric, developmental education, I believe, I'm not sure if I have the correct name, you're going to be going arts and science. Those are with Deans Kevin Lee, Derek Salinas, and Rick Scovia. Health careers will be going into health careers public service programs. Those includes all health and fire science, EMS. That goes with health careers with Dean Pam Harmon. The business and tech, automotive, criminal justice, engineering tech, computers, architecture. Going to go into business tech with Dean Jennifer Davidson. The continuing education will go in with Dean, Assistant Dean Katie Rulo, and then adult education, GED, all of those areas will go in with Dean Jacqueline Lynch. Please make sure you change your name properly. I know everyone wants to get paid for being here today. We will, I will speak to you guys at the end, and then we will hopefully see you guys later at the union meeting. I hope everyone has a great start to their semester this year. Now I'd like to introduce President of Triton College and Mayor Rita Moore.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Bill. Greetings from the Triton College campus this morning to each and every one of you. It was a beautiful drive-in with our January weather this morning. The only thing missing is all of you on campus. I truly, miss seeing each and every one of you. I value this time together at each one of our workshops, and I'm confident that that in August we'll be together on campus for our workshop. But for today, we have a wonderful agenda. My thanks to the Professional Development Committee and the input from academics in regards to our agenda today. We listened to the input you provided to us previously in regards to building our time together today. And certainly I know that you always maximize the opportunity to engage with your colleagues, even in this virtual setting that for the last 10 months have been quite comfortable and starting to learn more about the life in virtual space. So I would also like to take an opportunity to thank all the presenters, particularly your peers who have spent time in bringing you relevant topics that can support your efforts in supporting the success of our students here at Triton College. So look forward to hearing an update about guided pathways and time as your president has indicated, time with your deans this morning as well. So I give you a high five and a wave from me this morning. And also in the spirit of being virtual, I'd like us just to take a moment, if you would be so kind, to come up on the screen. I've asked our technical team today to put us in gallery mode so I could see as many of you as I can. And we're going to take a picture, some snapshots of our gallery view of all of us here today in spring 2021 workshop. And so it'll take us a couple of minutes to do that. So if you'd like to come on the screen, please do that. Put on your video. If not, it's okay too. And we'll give our tech team a couple of minutes here as I peruse all of your faces this morning. They will take our gallery pictures. Great to see all of you. Appreciate your greetings this morning in the chat room as well. Fantastic. The tech team will let me know when they've finished. It's okay if you don't have a camera. For those of you joining us on audio, wonderful. Tech team, are we good?
Yeah, we're good, President Moore.
Thank you so much, Chris. All right, let me switch back here and let me share my screen and we'll get started. All right. Good morning once again, faculty. Welcome to our workshop where everything here at Triton College is possible. We really had quite an experience currently, not only looking to the recent past, but being in the present and looking to the future. Oftentimes our experiences when in fantastic times, in times of determination, we look to our shared values. And I have observed and see each and every day the Triton College community utilizing and being inspired and look to our shared values here at the college for our work and in fulfilling our mission. I'd like to begin today talking a little bit about our current plan and giving some information about the college in general, and as we be in the present and looking to the future. For many of you, you may be aware that our current strategic plan will be coming, concluding after 7 years, 7 wonderful years, will be concluding this semester at the end of June. Apologize, I'm having a little technical screen issue here, so just bear with me. Thank you. And as we conclude our efforts in this current strategic plan, I would like to highlight some of our successes, some of the ways that we as a campus community, you faculty, have impacted the success and our student success agenda for the past 7 years. As you know, these are our 3 major areas of our strategic plan. And in the areas of college readiness, we had great aspirations in regards to improving that. And in so many different ways have we achieved that. Some of those ways we recognize the need for our students to help them be college ready, because we know as students make that way through those entry points of English and mathematics, their success for getting to their stated goal rests a lot in being college ready. And so in the areas of mathematics and English, we have worked with our high school partners initially to be informed by the data of the preparation of our students coming to the college. And through that work, we recognize the need to help students be prepared. Most of our full-time students, new full-time students, come from the high school, and recognize that was an area working with our high school partners to be able to impact their readiness in high school. And we pursued that through dual credit in mathematics, which led to what we currently are under transitional math. And that goes to the efforts of so many, particularly the faculty and leadership of Roseanne Felton, Tawan Dean, and of course our Associate Dean, Rick Segovia, ensuring that now high schools under state mandate, but through our early preparation, we're able to make that transition supportive for our future students. And so students now entering Triton College who have completed transitional math and transitional English will be able to come to us college ready. Also through supports of 2 federal grants, Title III and Title V, we were able to find resources, time of the faculty talents, and innovative ideas in regards to bringing forth co-requisites. And we have made great strides under the leadership of Bob Greenwald and the faculty in particular in this area of co-requisites, and continuing to build our work in that particular area. The other thing that developed in this particular area is dual credit. We became more efficient and proficient in promotion of dual credit opportunities, where our chairs and coordinators worked with our high school partners to ensure the integrity and rigorousness of our courses in awarding dual credit. A lot of behind the scenes logistical aspects to make that occur. And you can see through our discipline, our areas of growth we have seen in dual credit in many areas across the campus. One of the other things that I'm most pleased about, and I've talked to you often in this forum about, is about our adoption of multiple measures. Multiple measures gets away from the philosophy of a one-time test determines someone's readiness. For me and for our campus community, this is about equity and our adoption early of what is now a requirement in the state to utilize multiple measures, meaning high school GPA, course completion in high school, other appropriate measures that outside of a single test that of course is still available but is now longer prominent. And I'm so pleased about our ability to support and recognize this important area of our students for us to determine college readiness. So I thank you, faculty, in regards to that. In our improving college completion, a lot of that was looking at our data and recognizing that we have achievement gaps, and that achievement gaps are not representative of for all groups that we serve here at the campus. And so using that data, we recognize there had to be an opportunity to improve that completion, and how do we move about doing that? Our focus has been on academic plans, and I'm pleased to say we've steadily grown in requiring our students to have an academic plan. And I have seen in a variety of different venues, even through tenure packets, where our faculty have encouraged our students to complete an academic plan, to be able to know what path they're on, and they can reach that academic goal. And so I'm supportive of the administrative team and our academic faculty, our counselors, even our librarians, in recognizing the importance of an academic plan. We have made some progress in achievement gaps. However, there is more to do. And we know that what progress we make, there is always more and continuous learning about how to eliminate the achievement gaps, particularly in our students of color. And so as we continue on, that will not be lost in our efforts going forward. In our third area of closing the skill gaps, I'd like to recognize and highlight our work with and the advising committees of our academic enterprise. I really saw an increased intentional effort in regards to connecting with our partners in industry and business and other partners that we support and interface with in our educational enterprise. And in particular, in the areas of some programming that we fully embraced. In the area of our facilities engineering technology program, or in our local 399 partnership, we saw, we heard a need, and we have an expanding programming for the workforce through local 399. Recently in renewable energy in our partnership through IBEW, we've heard from industry about a need, and Triton College had the answer in our renewable energy programming, and we put forth a cohort now in regards to that particular area. And also in our area of workforce equity, as many as you know, we last year received funding from the state in regards to supporting our community, the African American community specifically, in regarding of educating, providing a certificate, providing support, and ensuring job placement within a very short period of time, with 1 year. And even with the growing concerns of the virus, we were able to successfully meet our grant objectives. More than 160 students benefit from this program. And you heard from me in the fall semester in regards to 2 specific stories of success in that workforce equity. Because of our success and our ability to connect with over 500 employers in our district and greater region, we were able to secure our commitment in our grant to our communities and fulfilling our mission. I'm excited to say that we were delighted to renew our interest and support in this particular area, and we were awarded a second year funding in just over $1 million in workforce equity. But that goes to faculty, many of you, particularly our adjunct in the health career area, continuing education for health careers. You led the way in providing the instruction in these short-term areas. And to our credit faculty, Terry Younge, Francis Figg, Antigone Antigone, Michael Henson, and so many more in the areas of welding, construction, and so pleased to recognize you. And as you can see of our successes in the strategic plan, that has led us to looking and bringing together as an institutional priority guided pathways. As I mentioned earlier this morning, we will hear later about an update about where we're at with guided pathways. But to share with you that we've been working hard, particularly the faculty in the arts and science area and in our career areas in regards to our program mapping and integrating that to a system that is sustainable for our our experience that we want to bring to students. It's all about the student experience and how our experience can contribute to that experience. And we are going to be ready for our students coming this fall semester as our first group of students in our implementation of guided pathways. You've heard a lot about Pillar 1 and 2. We are launching Pillar 3, and you will be hearing more just later this morning. The all-important supporting our students, staying on the path. and a little bit also about Path 4, our assessment and ensuring our students are learning. And that's where you faculty come in play in regards to guided pathways. So look to that. My acknowledgement, however, I would like to be for the Guided Pathway Steering Committee. We have faculty, adjunct represented there, and also on the subcommittee of the pathways. And want to thank you once again. This all leads us to our new strategic plan. And as you've heard in our various forums and college council, our college council members have provided you information, and from our steering committee led by Dr. Purva Rushi. But once again, have faculty members there, Patrick Kane for our adjuncts, and representation from science for Dave Murphy is on that committee, Bill Griffin, Jackie Mullaney from criminal justice, Justina Coach from business and tech, Counselor Leslie Wester. We have been underway since February, launching our new strategic plan. And you can see in this graphic from our shared values to our goals and timeline. This time it will be a 3-year plan, starting in July and ending in June of 2024. Focused on, of course, student success, where our goals will be focused on teaching and learning, about employees, and of course, the community that we serve. And so we can, you can see also that we've identified our structure, and most importantly, for me, is to ensure that your voice as employees and the voice of our students are heard throughout this. To this point, we've had many input from our employees in particular, more to come from our students as we advance. And I want to dive in a bit on those 3 particular goals. I know you have seen this, but want to be able to provide to you a little bit detail and encourage you to reach out to the action plan leaders. In our teaching and learning that aligns with educating the community, Jennifer Davidson, our Dean of Business and Technology, is serving as the action plan leader. And in here, we will be drafting a plan that looks to support the academic, expanding our support of academic support for students, the development of new programming, and strengthening our engagement between faculty and students. So if you have interest, if you have input, please reach out to Dr. Davison in that regard. In our goal 2, let's see if I have that here. All right, having a little technical difficulty. There we go. In goal 2, our action plan leader for goal 2 is Associate Vice President Darrell Carter. And Darrell is leading this. This is mission aligned with valuing the individual. And as you've heard through my messages this year, in 2020, we engaged in conversation in regards to the campus, particularly the employees' experience around diversity, equity, and inclusion. And that conversation revealed a number of strengths and opportunities for us to improve our environment here at the college. And so between now and the start of our strategic plan, Darrell and those who have expressed interest during this time will be working on a development of a DEI plan. And part of that will include training for our employees in regards to foundational language and knowledge around DEI. And so I thank you for your input as we proceed through our goal 2 here in the strategic plan. And please reach out to Darrell Carter. He is looking forward to hearing from you and continuing the work we have established here in Goal 2. In Goal 3, strengthening our relationships with the community. It will be led by AVP Jensen, and Paul and his group will be looking at opportunities of how we continue to not only partner with workforce and educational partners, but how can we connect to the community in different ways that we have not done before. And so if you have interest in this particular area, I know that Paul will be most interested in hearing from you in regards to our work here. And all of our work, our current strategic plan and our our current strategic plan and our future requires a use of resources. And here I wanted to just spend a few minutes talking about the resources and their need as an institution to be flexible with resources. They come in all sorts of different ways. Here specifically, we're talking more financial, but we're going to also talk a minute about other resources of the institution that are non-financial. I hope that you know that Triton College has last year utilized our federal CARES money in the tune of $4.2 million. 2.1 of that went directly to students, Triton College students, to support them during this time. We worked diligently in small groups to ensure that we understood the particular aspects and details of the federal funding. You know, sometimes the details can get pretty intense, but ensuring that we were able to maximize those funds that were allocated to us. We also kudos to our budget cost center managers and faculty, you as you work with your department areas in regards to looking at our current budget and what adjustments we can make to be able to be flexible in our fiscal resources to put it where it was needed at this particular time. I'm so pleased to acknowledge the work of the Triton College Foundation and the creation of Student Emergency Fund. Many of our employees, foundation members, and I know members of our faculty supported the development of the Student Emergency Fund. And more than $40,000 went directly to our students in this particular time. My thanks to those of you who have contributed, even retirees of the college contributed on behalf of that fund. And the foundation has shared with me that their focus will continue in this particular area. I want to thank the committee that was put together to look at the request of students, put many hours in ensuring the students who had great need we were able to respond to. Institutionally, the college was able to take advantage of a good time and able to refinance some existing bonds at the institution that will add to our flexibility going forward. These were existing bonds, and I appreciate the finance team of the institution and their contribution to ensuring greater fiscal flexibility for the institution. And then late on Thursday, we were notified of our supplemental funding for the Federal CARES Act. And while the details are not known, anticipate that to be further detailed out in the next couple weeks as we look to a change in the federal administration, as we look at knowing that there's some changes at the state level in regards to leadership that will be favorable, I know, to Triton College in regards to a local Speaker of the House. And so we look forward to diving into other possibilities that not only the federal CARES supplemental funding could provide to us, but also knowing that we need to remain open and responsive to needs of our campus community in regards to the area of being supported fiscally. And so our work and strategic plan and our work of the college will be able to continue through this fiscal flexibility. We also would like to recognize that we have strength in many ways as well in our research and institutional effectiveness area. And this is just a slide to acknowledge the work of the research area and making you aware of new reporting, a new system in which you, faculty, you, staff, you, administrators, will be able to look at our data in easy ways to go about your work and your interest. And so this access to this information has been made available to our chairs and coordinators, to our administrators, and I encourage conversation in departmental meetings, talking about what is this information, what are these dashboards, or over a dozen dashboards that are now available to the campus community that can address and look at the data that you need as well. I'd also like to spend a moment to give a preview of our work that has occurred since 2006. Every 2 to 3 years, Triton College participates in a national survey of community college survey for not only student engagement, but a faculty survey for student engagement. And a short time after midterm of this semester, 2021 is the year that we will be participating in this survey. To give you a little background on this particular survey, it's really to talk to our students and our faculty about their Triton experiences, about your interactions, how our students interact with faculty, peers, our counselors, and how we support their learning. And this information is analyzed and regionally and nationally benchmarked so we can understand how our students and what our perceptions of our students and the perceptions of our faculty, how they are similar or perhaps are different. And we can engage in conversation about these things that we share in common and those things that we need to learn more about if we have different perspectives. And so for the first time, this survey will be going to our credit students instead of specially selected courses that we've done before. Some of you may be familiar. It's available online. It will be sent to students. I ask the faculty support. When you see that come out, we'll give you some information about that, encouraging your students to engage, to provide us the information, to provide all of us in our work to be able to support them in the best way we can. So I encourage you to support our students, and I encourage you, our faculty has always responded well. That has in the past been electronically, will continue to be electronically in this year. And my thanks to you in regards to that. Well, it's about time that I wish you a great semester. I want to share with you to remember the 3 W's that we've all become familiar with, continue to practice that. I wish you continued good health and know that all of you are essential to Triton College. So as I send this off to the Vice President of Academic Affairs, have a great semester, everyone. And personal note, my thanks the last 2 days to the tech team. You do an awesome job. Can't do it without you as well. So as I release my screen and share that, send that over to Vice President Campos. Thank you so very much, everyone. Continue to be well. And I look forward to take some time, come to campus. We are here. It is safe. We want to see you and want to reconnect you to our campus because I know in the next few months, we'll have ample opportunity to return to all the connectedness of Triton College that we so much appreciate more because of our current experience. Dr. Campos?
Thank you, President Moore. Before I get started, I would just like everybody, if you have not already done so, it's going to be important as we move forward in this meeting that we know what area you're from. So first of all, if you don't have a full name listed for you as a participant, please rename yourself. And secondly, can you please, after your name, add the area where you teach from, so we can make sure we get you to the right sessions in case there are any issues. Thank you very much. So welcome everybody. I'm so glad to see everybody here today. Give me a moment and I want to share my screen with you. Okay, there we go. All right, so as you can see from my background here, I have moved right to the best parts of spring, the flowers and the sun. It's beautiful out today. I love the snow. It looks pretty there, but I really do enjoy this part of the year of spring when everything is budding and it's beautiful and fresh starts. So today I just want to kind of touch on a lot of different points about where we're at and where we're moving forward. So I'd like to start out by saying last year on March 30th, we embarked on a wild ride and we began remote learning for the entire college. Just as I have, you have also been riding the COVID coaster, the ups and downs of daily life. It can be very wearing on one. It takes a toll on all of us. Certainly there are those that have had it much tougher and they have much more challenging times. They're struggling financially, mentally. They're challenged by trying to manage health, the health of their family. They're trying to manage childcare and also work at the same time. And there's also the anxiety of racial and political unrest in our world right now. But we all know that better times are ahead for all of us. I'm just going to mention a few words here about the Scrabble tiles. Like all of you in my family, we've been trying to keep busy doing a lot of variety of things since we can't be in our regular lives of being out and about with all of our friends and family. So we've been taking up time doing a lot of different puzzles and toys and different types of activities. One of them being Scrabble. We have an ongoing Scrabble game amongst my husband and I. Every day we add another word or two depending on our time. So Scrabble's become an intimate part of my life during the COVID pandemic that we've been all suffering through. So where do we find ourselves on January 16th, 2021? I guess the first question would be, what would our spring semester be like? How are we going to proceed? So what I would tell you is that it's going to be very much like our fall semester was, but with some really noteworthy refinements that I think are important to point out. First of all, our faculty and our students have been through 2.5 semesters of remote instruction. So they have a better idea about what's involved in learning online and also how to manage it a little bit better. We also know that for those that are teaching on campus, they've solidified the practices of wearing masks and cleaning and social distancing so that everybody is safe. We are all more experienced with the different platforms, colleague and team and Zoom, and we're learning to use technology in a variety of ways, more than many of us thought we ever would. We have more faculty that are trained full-time and adjunct in Blackboard Learn and also pedagogy. Between summer and fall, 16 full-time and 270 adjuncts completed the Blackboard Learn. And currently we have about 205 adjuncts that are in the process of completing Blackboard Learn. This is important and it's vital because the technology is essential to remote learning. And if the faculty doesn't understand it, and the students will be even more challenged when the faculty can't present in a beneficial formatted way for them. So this is really good. Our college continues to operate. We're performing with virtual meetings, and that's due in part to the benefit of technology and equipment that we've been provided that keeps us all ticking. We also continue to support the students with technology and Wi-Fi. We have acquired more technology and Wi-Fi for those students that are in need. More information will be coming out for that. So again, please make sure your students are amply prepared to complete the course. You cannot be successful taking a course on your phone. So I think that's one of the very first things a faculty should find out about their students in the start of the semester. What remains constant is that all students, staff, and faculty will be challenged with every dip and turn of that COVID coaster. What we will continue to do, though, is to support and care for each other so that we can get through with this. So what about summer? Well, we have Earl and we have blended courses that are on the schedule. But we have also heard from students and faculty that they'd like to be back on campus. So if that's something that you're considering, please do. We can hold classes on campus. And if you have any concerns about what that would be like, I encourage you to reach out to many of the faculty that have been on campus already in fall and fall semester. Larry Manos in chemistry, those in the business department, health careers, EMS, fire, auto, welding, criminal justice, architecture, construction, and horticulture. All those faculty have been on campus teaching, and the students are learning. So it's working. If you have a crystal ball, please let me know, because February 15th, we have to put the schedule together for fall. And I don't know what fall is going to look like exactly, but what I can tell you is we will be back on campus. So prepare for that. When everybody returns to campus, it's not going to be the same place as when you left. When you left in spring 2020, when we went for spring break. Higher education is not going to be the same as it was in March 2020. And each of you and each of our students are not the same person as they were in March 2020. We've all heard about the new normal. Well, what's that going to be looking like? Of course, we expect educators out of anybody to be flexible, accepting new ideas, new ways of thinking, new theories that we should be considering. So we cannot expect to fit a round peg in a square hole anymore. We've got to be flexible and adjustable to the new ways of thinking. So what I would like you to do is to take all those things that you have learned, all those things you put into practice when we've been remote, and keep those things that are good and beneficial to the student, and maybe replace those with some practices that you were doing before that may not be as beneficial to the student. Students tell us that taking a class remotely is more time-consuming and challenging. But part of that is because we're actually doing all the things. The faculty are doing all the things that they're supposed to be doing in education. There's little place to hide in a virtual classroom. It's easy to come to a physical classroom, take the back seat and be quiet. But in a virtual classroom, we need participation from everybody. So there's more student engagement. There's more informal assessment. Those are the things that are beneficial for all students. So that is why it's more challenging for a student to take it. But it's also more challenging for a faculty member to teach that type of course, because A, you have to learn about the technology, and B, not everything is 100% successful. So you have to keep trying new things. But again, that's the fun part of education, about trying new things and seeing how we can connect even more substantially with our students. But now you've done a lot of new practices, you've learned a lot of new things. There's really no way to go back to where we were in March 2020. So let's return to what's going to happen in spring. I'm really going to recommend that you really take a look this semester while you're teaching about what's working in your class and what's not. I'd like you to keep a critical eye on that. I would also encourage departments and your colleagues and divisions to talk amongst yourselves about practices that you find that work and start to incorporate those universally. Are you talking more one-to-one on your students in their conference hours? Are you going to continue to record your lectures to help students review? Bad news, snow days are gone. There will be no more polar vortex days, but we've got a great solution to move past that at this point in time. Are you using more technology tools to help your students? Are you posting grades so that students can keep abreast of their progress? Are you posting announcements so they can see or hear and keep updated in what's going on in your class? Are you using discussions in your classroom on Blackboard so you can have more than just a yes or no response from the student? So you can have something substantial, conversation amongst the students. I'm sure you already know this, but I'll just remind you, for those students where English is not their first language, discussion boards are a wonderful tool. It provides them a time to formulate an answer when their English skills may not be very strong. In a face-to-face class, they may sit very quiet, but in a Blackboard class, they can actually take the time to respond and participate, which increases their success in a class. Many of you are familiar with the term universal design for learning, and it's a way of thinking about teaching and learning so that all students can be successful. It offers flexibility in ways that students have access to information, how they engage with it, and how they demonstrate to you, the instructor, that they've actually learned. The goal is to use a variety of teaching methods, removing the barriers from learning. It does include accessibility tools, but there's so much more than that. So how do you present the material for the student? Is it just reading in the textbook, or are you providing some audio and video supports? Is there hands-on activities? It's different ways to learn the material and have access to it. Also, how do the students practice and engage with the content? Does everybody have to do the same assignment, or is there a variety of options for them? And then lastly, how do those students demonstrate what they've learned? We can assess in a variety of ways. And so if you've not heard about this or you'd like to learn more about it, I encourage you to stop in or check out the Center for Teaching Excellence. They have a huge amount of resources there available for you. This is a great opportunity as you start to plan for fall. You know, I love listening and watching other teachers teach. It's one of my favorite things I got to do as a dean when I would observe different classrooms. I miss that part, but in my current role, a lot of paperwork does come across my desk. So I do have a little snippet into what's going on into the classrooms. I see virtual tours through museums. I have seen the virtual clinicals that our nursing students are completing so that they can keep their clinical skills up to par when we can't get into the hospitals. I also see virtual guest speakers. These are all great ways to bring the world into your classroom when we can't get out into the world. Institutionally, we all have to consider what will change here as well. Last week, we held the budget presentations for the campus virtually. Attendance at these meetings were minimally 30 and up to 50 at some point in time, which really allowed a great opportunity for us to have transparency and also for other people to see what goes on here in the campus for those that don't want to wander up to the third floor boardroom. So that was a great showing of people and staff, and we were very excited to see the turnout for that. Senate, curriculum, department meetings, college council, all are being held virtually. So are advisory board meetings. We're seeing an increased attendance at these meetings. I think we have to look to see, are we getting better results when more people come, to see if that's something maybe we would like to continue. All these are things we have to look at to see how our college will change, not just the instructors, but how does our college change to address higher education issues post-pandemic. In fall 2021, we will be bringing the implementation of guided pathways. I'm interested to see how all that will impact what we do here at the college. One of the guiding principles of guided pathways is that all of the institution is supportive of the student. They all take part in it, whether it's business services, enrollment management, or academics. It's a way of all supporting the student's success. We may not be doing a lot of things different, but the students are going to see what we're doing and why we're doing it. But hopefully it's all going to lead to the goal of better retention and success and moving the students closer and further in a quick way to their goals of completing their education. We're going to have a presentation today by Dean Jones and Sheldon Turner to give us an update about what's going on in Guided Pathways. And I would like to thank anybody that's had a role in that. It's truly inspirational, the work that we've been able to do so far. I started this presentation with the word of hope, and I'm hopeful for warm weather and for flowers because we know they're going to be coming soon. I'm hopeful every day that we get closer to becoming vaccinated and that everybody is healthy. I'm hopeful for the tenacious spirit of faculty and students and the staff to persevere in these challenging times. On Monday, we're going to be honoring Martin Luther King for his leadership. And he also had a message of hope and better days. Education is the key for our students to get closer to their dreams of what they would like, making a better life for themselves and for their families. As educators this semester, when it gets challenging and frustrating, I hope that you think about that word hope, because hope is really nothing more than holding on until pain ends. I hope you all have a wonderful semester, and my best wishes to you all. Thank you very much. I'm going to minimize my screen so that I can have my colleague, Dr. Coslow Martin, step in and do her talk.
Thank you. Thanks, Vice President Campos. Hello, everyone. My name is Jody Coslow Martin. I am going to go ahead and share my screen. And as I speak, I'll ask that you stay with me for, I'll talk for about 5 to 6 minutes here. And then I'll give you some instruction about what will come next. First and foremost, again, thank you, Vice President Campos. Thank you, President Moore. I have loved seeing the chat. I think all of you should know that President Moore is a board game guru herself, an expert in those, and is a huge fan. So she'll tell you about that sometime if you ask her. Also, I'll tell you that Jackbox, where you do the games online, big hit in my household as well. Well, it's an honor to be with all of you, and I want to highlight a few things for those of you who are essential in the Triton College operation in terms of teaching our students, teaching them, and just being able to really focus on their learning and focus on who they are. I've been at the institution for a little over 2 years now, and when I first spoke with a group of adjuncts a couple of years ago, one of the things that I did was talk about this idea of welcome and care. And the idea that we present a welcoming environment to new students and that we present a culture of care for continuing students. Now, I have found that over these last couple of years that the meaning of that has even grown in importance. That one of the things that we see is that we know that the students are able to feel like they matter. And because of that, we're able to know that the efforts that we do know that they feel like they're part of being valued here. So welcome and care, welcome and care. We also know that welcome and care extends to those of you that are on as adjuncts with all of us too. But part of our time here, I wanted to highlight some key retention efforts and really highlight those that I think you need to know as instructors that will be able to help your students directly. So I'm going to highlight academic advising and counseling. I'm going to highlight a virtual Navigator program, and I'm also going to highlight something called Project Success quite briefly. Now, advising and counseling. Academic advising is, we have a staff of academic advisors. We also have a staff of counselors, and the counselors are faculty members. Pre-pandemic in state legislature, there was actually laws passed that required higher education institutions, public institutions in the state of Illinois, to be able to offer more mental health services to students directly and at no costs. So that has influenced some things that we do. The other thing is that academic advising, helping students select their classes, we know is very important in guided pathways. I'm guessing that as an instructor, you've done a little advice giving, a little mentoring, and a whole lot of teaching outside of the content in your time as instructors, and we recognize that. So part of what I'm highlighting here is some ways to help you when you do all of those different things. So academic advising, those staff who are busy today on campus and remotely, they help with new student registration, class registration, many of the things about mapping out a future and what courses to take. This PowerPoint and others will be available later, and I encourage you to check out the links so you can get to know some of our academic advisors directly and know a little bit about who they are. And never feel or hold back from directing a student or reaching out yourself to talk with an academic advisor. We know that it is a partnership between both the instructor, an advisor, and a student in order for them to be successful. Now for us, counseling has also taken on a new focus. So one of the things that we are doing and will continue to do with even more precision is be able to offer more one-on-one counseling directly to students relating to things beyond the classroom, but in ways that we know that managing stress and anxiety really impact a student's ability to be able to stay enrolled. So that is a highlight of what counseling is able to do. We have partnered with an outside agency to be able to offer as much counseling services as our students need. The pandemic has really heightened the need for that. And again, these services to all of our students are at no cost to them. Another topic or another initiatives that we started, and one of the things that I think we will keep moving forward, is something called a virtual Navigator program. And so we found success with this. So essentially, it is someone that partners with an instructor in a class that oftentimes those of you who are teaching, you often get a lot of the other questions about whether it's technology, whether it's where do I go for this on campus, who can help me with financial aid. The idea is that a virtual navigator is partnered with an instructor to really help the students answer those questions. And it's a partnership to help the students as they navigate remote learning. We have found an 80% satisfaction rate. I have some stories. There was a student that said, hey, it was through my virtual navigator that I learned about a scholarship opportunity that I wouldn't have known of otherwise. So while our virtual navigators are staff, we also have what's called a peer mentoring collaborative. Peer mentors are still available for the spring. So if you would like a student who has become an expert at being a student at Triton, they can help and work with you in your classes as well to help answer those questions. And again, I'll send this PowerPoint out and you can connect with our staff person, Christina Hunt, who will be able to help you and your students. Lastly, I want to highlight something called Project Success. You may have seen this among your students. We have seen it on a broader scale. The ability to pay and an academic plan never have been more important and go hand in hand. So as the pandemic has impacted many students' ability to pay for school and to pay for rent and food and phone and all of those essentials, we know that oftentimes school might take a back seat. So one of the things that we are really committed to doing is to recognizing that first and foremost. We have evidence of seeing that already from the fall and committing to helping our students come and continue in their Triton education and help them in terms of with their ability to pay. So Project Success is actually a program that we are a part of because we are designated a Hispanic serving institution, and Project Success is a federal government program through the Department of Education. I simply want to offer this, is that it affords us the opportunity to have some services that are free to us that wouldn't normally be. One is a workshop just for the entire campus to get to know some of the resources and tools that are available to students and to all of you. Some of you may be familiar with the Myers-Briggs test. Well, oftentimes you have to pay for that. Well, through Project Success, because it helps students identify a path for themselves, that would be a tool that's free through Project Success. There are different ways that we teach financial literacy to students. Those tools can be available to us for free through Project Success. We have a Persist Workshop that's coming up at the end of February. You're all invited to attend. It will give you some tools and tips and ideas and theories around retention work and helping your students directly, but we'll also highlight those tools that we get for being a member of Project Success. So with that, that's my last slide. I hope that you see here, and I really enjoy the chat and seeing all of your comments, that you recognize your importance as an instructor. You know these students. I believe you keep coming back to teach because it's these students' stories and their tenacity that really are inspiring to you. And knowing that, that's what motivates all of us to continue to support you as well as to continue to support our students. So that idea of welcome and care continues, and we are doing everything that we can to have our students feel that sense of welcome and care. Enrollment continues to stay important to us. We have staff on campus today. We have staff virtually helping students register. Please be flexible as they continue to register over the course of this weekend to get into your classes. And I wish you all of the best for a wonderful spring semester. I'm going to talk a little bit now and stop sharing my screen so that IT can put up some instructions about what would be next to do for the breakout. So here is the next step of what you all will be able to do. So when you are on your screen and you're going into breakout rooms, and breakout rooms will be at the bottom of your screen, and it may come up and say join a breakout room. Then you will look for the department that you're a part of and you will join there. It does require that you have the latest download of Zoom in order to be able to do this. We will also be monitoring the chat, and our IT is there to help and move you into the different breakout rooms if you're having some trouble doing it yourself. But that's the conclusion of the opening session at this point. I will turn it back over to our colleagues in IT so you can get a sense of what to do with the breakout, and have a great rest of the day, and wishing you all the best for the spring semester.
Thanks, Jody. If you are not seeing breakout rooms, look at the bottom of your bottom bar to the right. There might be a little arrow, a caret arrow going up, and if you don't see them at all, make sure your Zoom client's up to date, 5.3 or greater. VP Campo sent that out in the instructions in her email. You can do that during the break here and do a quick update. I think the latest version is 5.49. So just get up to speed on that if you're not seeing breakout rooms. If you're not able to get a breakout room because you can't update, we'll assign you to one. We'll do our best to look at chat and assign everybody. Otherwise, we will have to put people, where we can. If you're listed with your correct department, we'll be able to do that. Thank you, guys.
We'll take about a 5-minute break and we'll be back about a little after 10:10. Okay, everybody? Thank you.
If you're not in a breakout room, just type which breakout room on the list. If you don't see the list, let us know. We'll try to get you in the correct room.
Welcome back, everybody. I hope you found those informational and informative, the meeting with your dean. We don't often have the opportunity to meet with all of the adjuncts and the deans. So I'm glad we could have this time together with your deans. Next, we have our representation from the Guided Pathways. Dean Denise Jones and Dr. Sheldon Turner are going to talk to us about Guided Pathways. So I'm going to allow them to put their screens up, and thank you very much for this presentation.
All right. Can everyone hear me just fine?
Yes, we do hear you. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for having us. And thank you for the introduction. So Dean Jones and I today are going to update you on what's going on with Guided Pathways. Now, hopefully by now, most of you have heard of Guided Pathways. If not, I just want to do a brief introduction of what's going on campus. This is sort of a big restructuring, redesign of some things we have going on campus that affect all of us. So we'll try to focus more on like what affects faculty, but just a general update as well. All right. So our sort of Triton definition of what's going on at Guided Pathways. Now, Guided Pathways is a national sort of initiative that's happening all over the country at community colleges and four-year institutions. But what it means at Triton is it's a structured framework to redesign the student experience at Triton College from entry to exit. So what it's really about is the student-facing side of campus, and what when a student comes here from the initial, when they first start thinking about Triton to the time they graduate and they go on to a job or they go on to university, what does that experience like? What did it look like? What did they see? So this redesign doesn't necessarily change like everything about the way we do things, but it's changing how we do things come off to students. And some of that does require changes on our part as well. Again, as long as we're doing what's best for our students. So this structured framework is built on sort of these four pillars. There's the pillar of sort of creating paths for students. There's getting students on those paths, keeping students on those paths, and then finally making sure that they were learning something on those paths. And you can probably imagine some of those involve faculty much more than others. But you know, whether you're adjunct or full-time, you're going to have a role in all of these. So the first one is Pillar 1. I'm the co-chair of this work group. And Pillar 1 is all about creating pathways. So the first thing we did is we took all the programs on campus and we lumped them into these sort of student-facing categories. And so you can see those 7 areas of study here: arts and humanities, career and technical, culinary arts, hospitality. And again, this was based on a bunch of research of what other schools are doing, as well as what our own students, how they see our programs connected to each other. So it's a way to help those undecided students really find their way here. Once we had that, then it was going back and looking at our curriculum. And so we've pulled apart and looked at every single program on campus, every certificate, every applied degree, every transfer degree, and figured out how can we make these look and work better for the students. And so we've done a lot of work with some full-time faculty, deans, and chairs, but I know a number of you adjunct faculty have also been involved in this. And so again, making these sort of really clear roadways for a student to take classes and be most efficient with their time here. So far, over 55 programs have sort of gone all the way through this process of all this rigorous research going into what was best for either transferring or best for job placement, you know, stacking certificates, all that kind of stuff. And then we vetted it with faculty and departments and deans and chairs. And then those are now going all through curriculum. Some of them have all gone all the way through and they're going to be put right into the new catalog. Other ones are still in different various phases. So again, to all those who have worked on this, I just want to give a really big thank you. With faculty being involved, and again, myself, I'm a full-time faculty, you know, it's an important piece of this process. This isn't just coming from administration. What we've done is this standard, clear, concise map we're trying to create has grown and evolved in a really useful and important way to where we've just rethought of how do we show something. If a student's going to philosophy, what are their different tracks they could pursue? If someone's working on certain applied degrees, how could they like use certificates and build up towards the degree on their way there? And that's all sort of come from these conversations, these deep dive conversations. And then the next piece of this and what we're working on is how do we make this a sustained thing? So it's not just, okay, there's this guided pathways committee doing all the work, but how is this something that it really becomes part of our institution permanently? And so we're sort of working with the curriculum committee, working with departments and all the different pieces of campus to sort of make this a faculty-driven process. To where when new curriculum is being created, when old curriculum is being evaluated, it's sort of going through this structured framework we've created here. And so what's next now, a big part of this was creating maps, but pillar one, just like all the other pillars, are never really done. This will always be something ongoing and iterative. But as we go through, we're going to try finishing up every single existing program. But this is on a very ideal, if you've seen any of these, they're very idealized, right? It's meant for that like student who comes in and in 4 semesters, they're getting their associate's degree. We know that's not our typical student. So how do we make maps and guide these pathways for students who are part-time? How do we incorporate our summer? There's a lot of demand from students. There's a lot of demand from us as faculty to have more summer classes. And then through these discussions, we've realized the industries or the universities, there's programs we could have that I think would really serve our students. So going back and starting to create those. And again, just sort of an overall redesign of what students see when they're coming here. We're also creating lots of rubrics for evaluation of this. So, as it becomes a faculty-driven process, it'll be sort of more ease that transition. It won't be extra work on everyone. And then finally, for pillar one, we need to connect this with the other pillars. So right now, a lot of the work you're about to hear Dean Jones talk about pillars 2 and 3, but pillar 4, the last pillar, is the other one where faculty are really involved. And that's in the assessment piece. So it's sort of, did students learn something? Is there things we could change in our programs to help them learn better through engaged teaching techniques? And so that's the next piece, is like, how do we start to transition over that side and make sure that that wraps back around with what our programs are? So that's where we are now. There's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of need for your input and your help. So you'll get some more information at the end about how you can learn more. All right. Go ahead, Denise.
Hello, everyone. Happy New Year and welcome to a new spring semester. I'm going to be before you briefly to give some highlights as well as some things that we have coming up for our Pillar 2 and Pillar 3. Just as Sheldon was saying, Pillar 2 is all about entering our students on a path. And then later I'll be talking about Pillar 3, which is about retention. How do we keep our students on this path and then make sure that they are completing? One thing I can definitely say overall, we have made significant changes and progress and streamlining and being very intentional with how we are providing an experience for our students, making sure that everything we do is wrapped around that welcome and care. We also have been, while we're doing, reviewing and changing processes, making sure that we're using a lens of access and equity. We really want to make sure we're being very intentional and we're doing actionable things to make sure that our students have access to as many resources, services as possible, but making sure that we're doing it through an equity lens, that we're making sure that we're helping students wherever they are when they need it. So many of the changes and updates that you see before you is basically continuing to improve our enrollment process, to reduce challenges that our students having, to reduce any confusion that our students may have along the way when it comes to the enrollment process. I do want you to know it's very important that I have really enjoyed being a part of the Guiding Pathway Steering Committee. Using this framework has really forced us as an institution to make sure that we're collaborating, to make sure that we're breaking down those silos, that we're not just student affairs or student services, and it's not just academic affairs or business services. We really have had to come together in all of these different pillars to ensure that our students really are getting the best, that we're being efficient with our processes. Another thing about the Guided Pathways work, it has forced us to have some really tough conversations. We really have to do some deep diving into processes, rethinking, relooking at what is this procedure? Why do we have this procedure in place? Just because this is how it's always been done doesn't mean that that is the way that we should move forward with it. So I will say a lot of pillar 2 and pillar 3 has been wrapped around reviewing our current processes and seeing how we can make them better. And again, using that lens of equity and access. So I'm really proud of our different committees that we have working in this. One thing I would like to highlight is through this process, we did revise our online new student orientation. So we were very much more intentional, it's more robust. We have links embedded into the orientation where students can click on it. We have more visual communication and videos that students can review. We also made sure we condense a lot of the content so that we wasn't throwing the entire book at them, but they knew just the important information they needed in order for them to be successful into their first semester. Another thing I would really like to highlight is that we reviewed our enrollment process map. We went back and said, what does this enrollment funnel look like? And how can we improve it? So with our new enrollment process, I presented on this, I want to say back in the fall, and fortunately, going through the open enrollment process for me personally, we were able to see, hey, we might need to go back. We might need to relook at our enrollment process again. Although we felt like we had a good process in place, going through this open enrollment, especially during the pandemic, really helped us to say, let's go back, let's revise. So our committee got together and we really did a deep dive into some data. So we pulled data to see, hey, we see a lot of our students are applying to Triton College. Where are they getting stuck in the process? Where do they feel like we're not being clear with information or we're not being clear about next steps? And so we used that data, and this is what you have before you. So students will apply to Triton, they will submit their documents. We expanded our multiple measures so that our students know earlier in the process if they'll need to take placement or not. Also, due to some board policy changes, not all of our students no longer have to take the placement test. And that has been phenomenal in matriculating our students quicker and easier through our enrollment process. We also included career coach as well as our academic pathways earlier in the process. So our students can be more informed about the programs that they want to enter, about the pathways that they are choosing. Then we are making sure that our students are meeting with an advisor. Advisors are very critical in starting that relationship and building that journey for our students. After that, students then will register for their classes. And one of the big changes is students no longer have to do new student orientation prior to registration. So new student orientation in the past actually was a registration barrier. So it's no longer a barrier for students, and students are now taking the new student orientation after they register, which is why we were more intentional with the information that we delivered to them. So if you ever get a chance, please feel free to go on our new student orientation so you can see the different information that we are providing to our students. I would also like to say that in using the lens of access and equity, and I want to give a huge shout out to our library. Our library has really done a phenomenal job with making sure that we're meeting students not only where they are, but making sure we're giving them the resources they need when they needed them. So we have expanded hours. We are also doing laptop loans for students. So students can come to the library and get a laptop for the entire semester as long as they're registered. And we recently have increased now where students can get IT help. So if you're having any issues with Blackboard, if you're having any issues with your laptop, regardless if it's an institutional laptop or their personal laptop, again, we are trying to make sure we want our students to be successful and we're giving them all the resources that they may need. We have a lot of work that's still upcoming. We're still working on trying to get more advisors into our department. As we said, advisors are critical when it comes to our new students as well as our returning students. We are currently also in the stages, we're still planning with our first year experience. I'm really, really excited about that because the restructure of our first year experience no longer has the lens of, oh, first year experience is just about a course, or first year experience is just about this program that you sign up for. We know that the first year really set the tone for students when it comes to success and making sure that they have a connectedness to the college, as well as making sure that they have all the resources and services that they need. So our first year experience is really going to be founded in academic advising, as well as making sure that it's interconnected and that it's integrated not only with student services, but with academic affairs. So you will see that a successful first year experience is all about, again, making sure we have this constellation of support. So placement testing, course placement, our college readiness courses, academic advising, our peer mentors, our CO 102 classes, all of this will be wrapped in to what a first year experience would be like for our students. So again, make sure that it's positive, that the student has a sense of belonging, and that they also feel like they have an institution that is supporting them. I also am going to talk about CRM Advice. CRM Advice is a really big initiative, as well as a purchase that we did along with our guided pathways work. So with our pillar three is all about ensuring that our students stay on the path, retention. So CRM Advice, some of you all may have heard about this. If you have not, you're going to hear about it. It's going to be very robust. Think of CRM Advice as Retention Alert 2.0. Okay, so this is going to help us refine and improve our case management, as well as improve our early alerts. And then that then relates to our wraparound services that we're going to provide to our students. I'm really excited about the implementation of CRM Advice because it's really going to directly support our students in a digital environment, regardless if they're in a remote or in-person classroom setting. I also really like CRM Advice because it's really bridging that gap of communication for our faculty, as well as our students and our staff. So again, it's breaking down those silos. You'll be able to have more informed conversations about students and the resources that they're using, who they've worked with. Our faculty will be very, very involved. As you may or may not know, CRM Advice will be integrated with our Blackboard system. So that's something that's very important. So we're going to be doing a lot of training, getting a lot of feedback from our faculty to say, hey, this is the direction that we're going, but we need your input because you're the ones directly working with Blackboard and how we can use Blackboard to our advantage to ensure that we are connecting with our students who might be falling off. How do we catch them? How do we make sure that we then jump in to say, hey, we look like you're struggling. What can we do? Do you need some tutoring? Do you need to work with an advisor? Do we need to rethink about the program that you're currently pursuing? So I just want you all to give a heads up. You will be hearing about CRM Advice a lot more. Again, it's kind of like our retention alert platform that we currently use, but just like 2.0, so even better. With this pillar work group, we just started the initial conversations and planning. So this is all in the works. I do want to thank all of the faculty who did come back in November. We had our first early engagement planning, and that was just a great opportunity for so many different representation from across the campus for us to collaborate and really connect our resources together to say, hey, this is what we're doing, this is what you're doing. How do we make sure that we're using these resources in the best way to support our students? Some of the upcoming work that we have with our pillar three, again, making sure our students stay on the path, making sure that they complete. You see our goals listed right before you. I do want to highlight that one of our big major goals within pillar three is going to be about reevaluating and redesigning our process for scheduling classes. That is really, really important. Again, we want to make sure that this process is student friendly as well as faculty friendly. That is one of the big, I feel like, goals that pillar will have to work with. Also making sure that we are looking at our academic support structures and our student support services, making sure that we really are providing that holistic support for our students. How do we wrap around our tutoring? How do we wrap around the library services, our ETRC with the loanable technology? So just making sure we're being very intentional and making sure, again, that we're providing that access and equity to our students as we're moving along in this journey. Again, A lot of things are going to just continue to roll out as we go along with guided pathways. It's a journey, not a destination. Progress, changes will be moving along as we continue to make our strides. I do want to thank you guys so much for your continued support. I just want you to know it's not over. We're still going to be tapping on your shoulders. We're still going to be asking you for your input. We still have work to do, and we still have work that we're currently doing. So I invite you all to visit our Guided Pathways page. It's located in the employee portal under resources, and you'll see Guided Pathways. Some of the things that was recently updated in the portal, we added some more glossary terms, as well as we did an internal progress report just to show the progress we have made along the way since we first started with Guided Pathways to where we are now. So if you would like to see what that looks like, again, I invite you to go to our portal page go to our page in the employee portal. Always our email is a great resource for you all to connect with us. Any questions, any input, if you want to get more involved, if you we all are connected to that email. So we invite you guys again to send us any questions, any feedback. Okay. Again, we look forward to working with you all this semester. I hope that you all have a great spring semester and that you all stay safe and well.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Denise and Sheldon. That was a great presentation to catch us up on guided pathways. So a little business before we can move on here. I would remind you that earlier this week, I sent out a lot of resources for you to prepare for your classes. So look for an email from Vice President Susan Campos. I think there's a lot of helpful information there for you to create your syllabus or anything else that you may need for the semester. I would also remind you, it's a great to welcome your students to the class before the class starts, to kind of start that connection with them. I encourage you to do that as well. We're going to take a break, but before break, the IT folks are going to post the titles of the 4 presentations that are coming up next after the break. If you don't have the capability of moving yourself into a room, I would like you to put your name and either 1, 2, 3, or 4 after your name so we can put you in the appropriate breakout session. So if you look at the chat line, we're going to be seeing the names. If you're unable to move yourself, you'll be able to tell us your name and what breakout session you'd like to do. So I think that we have like about a 10-minute break. So let's see, I lost my clock here for a minute. So why don't we make it easy and say 11:30, we'll be back. So we'll start the next session at 11:30. Okay, everybody, thank you.
Yes, and just to add, if you can assign yourself, that's optimal. So if you see the breakout room button, go into there. The numbers are there for those who don't have the ability to join for some technical reason, don't have the latest client, or just are not seeing it. So assign yourselves to those rooms, and then we will manually assign you if you can. Thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. If you have not assigned yourself to one of the breakout sessions, if you could type in the chat line your name and which session you'd like to go, 1, 2, 3, or 4. We don't want you to miss out on some great presentations. Thank you.
And if you're still in the main room and you want to be assigned to a breakout room they have started, please type in the main chat here and we will move you to 1, 2, 3, or 4. Just type the number and we will assign you to that room if you are still in this main room and have not been assigned. And if you don't have a preference, we can remove you manually. We can move you manually. Just state that.
Hello, everyone. I think we're all coming right back in the room as we speak. We're at about 114. Let me open something up here so I can see everyone. Okay, so at this point, the adjunct in service from Trenton College is coming to an end. We towards the beginning or end of the week, there will be a survey coming out asking you what you thought about how this project can happen. I think overall it went very well virtually. I think the breakout sessions went well, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in the union meeting. That was in the email I sent out, was with a link to the Blackboard Collaborate. Make sure you use Google Chrome. And I would like to thank everyone for attending today. Have a great day. I will see you in the union meeting next.